Machiavelli didn't write a morning routine checklist. He didn't preach timers, dopamine detox, or hustle hacks. But he did understand something the productivity crowd keeps missing. Focus isn't just about getting more done. It's about power, real power. The kind that lets you carve a clean line through a messy world that profits from keeping you scattered, overstimulated, and easy to steer. Focus isn't a gentle tool you keep in a drawer. Focus is a weapon you keep unsheathed. When you learn to wield it, everything flips. You stop reacting and start directing. You stop chasing outcomes and start pulling them in. You stop trying to improve your life like it's a home project and simply impose your will. Here's the core of it. Most people aren't short on potential. They're short on direction. Their minds aren't weak. They're unfocused. Their energy isn't gone. It's leaking. And the first law of power is simple. What's dispersed is weak. What's concentrated? Unstoppable. So let's not ask the cute question, how do I focus? The real question is, how do you weaponize it? Step 1. Cut without mercy. Focus begins with subtraction. Most people try to fix their attention by piling on more apps, more strategies, more goals, more structure. Like building scaffolding around a collapsing house. Machiavelli would laugh. He understood that clarity doesn't come from addition, it comes from elimination. He told rulers to be both fox and lion. The fox avoids traps. The lion eliminates threats. For you, the trap is distraction. The threat is unlimited options. Your mind isn't crowded because you're weak. It's crowded because you've said yes too many times. You've made yourself available to everything and committed to nothing. A Machiavellian approach looks like this. Cut 90% of the goals you should want. Say no to people who steal your time with guilt instead of paying for it with value. Stop trying to be a Swiss Army knife. Become a scalpel. Master one thing so precisely that others have to align around you. Because when you say yes to too many things, your energy dilutes. And diluted energy isn't power, it's noise. Here's a rule worth tattooing on your day. What you exclude defines you more than what you include. Pick one battlefield and burn every exit. That's the next step. Declare war. Machiavelli believed a prince should choose his wars carefully and never enter one he wasn't prepared to finish. Your focus should follow the same logic. If you want transformation, dabbling won't get you there. You must choose a domain and become unreasonable about it. Maybe it's your craft. Maybe it's building a body that makes people move out of your way. Maybe it's constructing a business that ends your financial anxiety permanently. Whatever it is, pick it and then burn the ships. No fallback, no plan B, no consolation prize. Modern thinkers might call this deep work. Machiavelli would call it territorial control of the mind. You don't visit that territory. You occupy it. So fully, in fact, that competitors either kneel or quit. Next, become unreachable. Visibility is the enemy of mastery. There's one habit that ruins more ambition than failure ever will. Constant availability. Always texting back, always jumping on calls, always online, always reachable. Machiavelli advised rulers to be mysterious, to use silence strategically, to hold back more than they reveal. Why? Because silence breeds fear, and fear, properly managed, breeds power. But there's another hidden effect. When you're always reachable, your mind is always divided, and a divided mind cannot build a legacy. So, here's the tactical move. Slash 90% of notifications. When everyone else is scrolling, you're building. Carve out a 3-hour block every single day where you vanish. No phone, no inbox, no chatter, no noise. You don't owe the world your availability. You owe yourself progress. Let people feel your absence so they value your presence. You'll be surprised how fast your quality rises when your attention stops being on call. Now let's talk pressure, the good kind. Machiavelli wrote that necessity drives action. Luxury softens. Comfort dulls the blade. The most focused people don't wait for motivation. They generate necessity. Real or artificial, it doesn't matter. You can engineer pressure. Set deadlines that make you sweat and then strip away safety nets. Declare your mission publicly so your reputation is on the line. Put money down. Put status at risk. Put pride on the hook. You will focus when there's something to lose. Fear, when harnessed, sharpens the mind. Fire purifies gold. Pressure purifies attention. So stop waiting for the right vibe to get to work. Create the storm that forces you to move. Here's a distinction that will save you years. Don't pursue balance, pursue control. Balance is a soft word people use to justify half-effort living. It's the comfortable person's shield against consequence. Machiavelli respected control, the ability to command your mind like a disciplined unit, to bend reality toward your outcomes. So when you wake up, don't ask, what's the balanced thing to do? Ask, what action today gives me maximum control over my results? That might cost you social time. It might mean a late night. It might mean training like everything depends on it, because your future does. Balance is for the comfortable. Control is for the powerful. And understand this. Focus is violence against distraction. Treat it like a clean strike, not a meditation exercise. This isn't about closing your eyes and whispering affirmations. This is a declaration of war against the part of you that wants to drift. It's saying no to every small urge that whispers, check your phone, open that app, just scroll for a second. Machiavelli advised rulers to be cruel only when necessary, but when cruelty is required, to execute it swiftly and decisively. Apply that to your attention. You don't negotiate with distraction. You eliminate it. Uninstall the app. Block the site. Cut the person. Remove the excuse. You won't outthink distraction. You have to outmuscle it. Then design your day like a tyrant designs a state. Most people wake up like tourists in their own lives, wandering, reacting, hoping today will feel different. Machiavelli would call that naive. Structure your time ruthlessly. Every hour bows to your will. Every task serves the mission. Every minute is accounted for. This doesn't mean purging joy. It means claiming sovereignty. The powerful don't request time. They command it. Put these pieces together and a new operating system emerges. You focus like a Machiavellian, not to feel calmer, but to seize control. Not to improve your circumstances, but to dominate your environment so thoroughly that it begins to cooperate. In a world addicted to distraction, the man who concentrates becomes mythic. Let others scroll. Let others wander. You build quietly, sharply, relentlessly. By the time they notice, it's already too late. If you still think focus is just about sitting quietly, closing your eyes, and taking deep breaths, then you haven't understood what we're doing here. We're not here to concentrate. We're here to conquer, to take control of your mind, your environment, and time itself until everything bends to your rhythm. This is what Machiavelli's kind of focus was: command. A mental monarchy where no thought rebels, no impulse escapes, and no effort goes to waste. You're not just building discipline. You're constructing a fortress inside your own head. And inside that fortress, only two things survive: purpose and precision. So start building your fortress. Guard your attention like it's a state secret. Machiavelli warned rulers that the greatest threats come not from outside, but from within. Betrayal, weakness, disloyalty, they all start inside the walls. Apply that to yourself. Your lack of focus doesn't come from the world. It comes from within, from the lazy, anxious, self-sabotaging parts of you that crave comfort and distraction. You must rule your inner kingdom like a tyrant governs a palace. Identify the rebel voices in your mind, the ones that whisper, "Scroll a bit, take a break. You've done enough." Then crush them. When your attention drifts, bring it back with force. No debate, no excuses. When you resist distraction, reward yourself. Train your mind like a guard dog, strict but loyal. Your focus is your crown. Drop it for even a second, and someone else will wear it. Now, direct your focus to leverage. Not everything deserves mastery. Machiavelli didn't believe in doing everything. He believed in doing what mattered most. In the pursuit of power, 90% of success comes from 10% of action. Your goal is to find that 10%. If you're building a business, maybe that leverage point is outreach. If you're transforming your body, maybe it's intensity, not volume. If you're earning respect, maybe it's your presence, not your words. Focus on what bends the most results with the least movement. One precise strike beats 100 random punches. A sniper outperforms a machine gun. Kingdoms fall to precision, not chaos. Stop trying to do more. Focus on what moves everything else. Then train the mind like a spy. Observe it. Study its patterns. Machiavelli said great rulers weren't just ruthless. They were strategic. They didn't act constantly. They acted deliberately. They watched, waited, and then struck with precision. You must do the same with your thoughts. If you can't observe your own mind, it will always control you. So watch it like an outsider. Notice when your focus starts to fade. What triggers it? When during the day are you sharpest? What drains you instantly? Which habits pull you into chaos? This isn't mindfulness. This is tactical surveillance. You're watching yourself like a strategist preparing for a coup because you are. Once you can observe your mind without emotion, you can direct it without resistance. You can choose when to strike, when to retreat, when to push harder. Next, create your own ritual of war. Treat every focus session like entering combat. You're not battling the world, you're battling your weaker self. Machiavelli understood the value of ritual. Rituals don't have to be mystical. They prepare the psyche for dominance. They mark the shift from ordinary life to extraordinary control. So design one for yourself. It could be sitting at the same desk, with the same lighting, the same scent, the same track of instrumental music that switches your brain into command mode. Maybe you open your notebook and write a single cold sentence. Now we build. Do this every time before you start. That one act tells your mind. The war begins. You're not warming up, you're arming yourself. Then, assume the mask of focus. Machiavelli obsessed over appearances, not because he was vain, but because he understood psychology. If people believe you are disciplined, determined, and unstoppable, you begin to act like it. So fake it precisely. Dress like someone on a mission. Speak less, listen more. Move with purpose. Carry a notebook, not for show, but to remind yourself, I am not here to drift. I am here to win. In the beginning, this may feel like pretending. Good. Pretend long enough, and it becomes who you are. Machiavelli wrote that power is perception first, then reality. What you perform consistently becomes your truth. Now, use solitude as a weapon. Isolation is not loneliness, it's the forge of greatness. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince from a Palace. He wrote it in exile, after being betrayed, tortured, and cast out. In silence, he saw clearly. When you strip away validation and noise, the mind stops begging for attention and starts producing brilliance. So stop fearing isolation, engineer it. Block out entire days where you vanish. Leave your phone behind. Go somewhere no one expects you to be. Let your mind detox from constant stimulation. At first it will hurt. You'll crave distraction like oxygen. That's withdrawal. Good. It means your brain is clear in space. Once that storm passes, your clarity will feel dangerous. You'll start seeing the world like a strategist, not a servant. The next step is hierarchy. Focus dies in equality. Machiavelli didn't believe all things deserve the same weight, and neither should you. You must install a strict order of priorities inside your mind. Not all thoughts are equal. Not all actions deserve energy. Not all goals deserve your time. Rank them. Mission-critical tasks come first. These happen no matter what. Maintenance tasks come second. These support your mission. Nice-to-haves come last. Do them only if everything else is done. And anything that drags you away from your purpose? Forbidden. Every time you obey this internal order, your focus strengthens. Every time you blur it, your focus weakens. Power belongs to the person who knows exactly where his energy goes and burns everything else. Then, collapse time, do in 3 hours what others do in 3 days. Machiavelli wasn't efficient, he was decisive. He knew that time isn't measured in minutes, but in execution. The man who acts immediately wins over the man who plans endlessly. So, stop stretching your work into long, endless marathons. Attack your tasks like a predator, fast, precise, total. Ask yourself, if I only had 1 hour to make huge progress, what would I do? Then do that. Every day. You don't need endless focus, you need sharper focus. Work in short, intense sprints that drain you. That's how you bend time, how you create results that seem impossible for others. Because focus isn't about doing more. It's about deciding faster and moving sharper. Now you know the foundations of Machiavellian focus, ruthless elimination, tight rituals, isolation, and precision execution. But this is just the start. Because to truly transform your life, focus alone won't save you. You have to know where to aim it. The sharpest sword means nothing if it swings in the wrong direction. And that's where everything changes next. The world is full of people who can focus, but on the wrong things. They're disciplined, consistent, even hardworking, but their energy is aimed at distractions disguised as progress. They chase tiny wins, petty dramas, fleeting pleasures, while the throne of their potential sits empty. Machiavelli didn't just teach focus, he taught targeting, strategic vision, the art of knowing exactly where to place your energy so that when you act, the world tilts in your direction. This isn't productivity. This is positional warfare. Focus, when guided by strategy, becomes domination. So, how do you aim it? You start by finding what Machiavelli would call the power nodes. In every system, whether political, social, or personal, not all elements are equal. A few control the rest. When you focus on those few, you shift everything. Machiavelli advised rulers to ignore the masses and focus on the generals, the nobles, the financiers, the ones who truly pull the strings. Because if you control the few who control the many, you control the entire machine. Apply that to your own life. Look around you and ask, what's the leverage point? Which skill multiplies all others? Which habit fuels every other habit? Which relationship opens 10 new doors? Which platform amplifies your message tenfold? That's where your focus belongs, not on what's loud or urgent or trending, but on what controls the flow of power. 1,000 random actions can't match one precise strike at a leverage point. Think like a strategist. Stop swinging wildly. Start aiming precisely. Then, you must stop consuming like a civilian. Break the cycle of passive consumption, the focus leech that drains modern men. You cannot rule your mind if you're constantly feeding it junk. Machiavelli said that men are driven by two forces, fear and appetite. The appetite for stimulation, endless scrolling, pointless arguments, and cheap entertainment is how most men destroy their attention span. If you want to focus like a strategist, you must consume like one. Read not for pleasure, but for ammunition. Watch not to escape, but to decode. Listen not to fill silence, but to sharpen understanding. When you treat everything you take in as mental fuel instead of emotional candy, your entire system transforms. Your brain stops craving escape and starts craving execution. You stop zoning out and start zoning in. Next, experiment with ruthless intensity. Machiavelli wasn't an academic theorist. He tested, observed, and refined. His insights came from the battlefield of human nature, not a classroom. You must do the same. Stop treating your focus like a mystery and start treating it like an experiment. Ask yourself, what hours give me my sharpest thinking? Which environments kill my energy? What music triggers my state of flow? What food, caffeine, or lighting keeps me alert the longest? Track everything. Keep a log. Refine. The average man tries to focus. The Machiavellian engineers focus. He builds it like a weapon forged, sharpened, upgraded, and every weapon needs a purpose. That's your next step. Build a supreme mission, because without a mission, focus becomes directionless intensity, a flame without an aim. At the center of every empire is an obsession. A mission so consuming that it organizes every thought, habit, and decision around it like gravity. Machiavelli told rulers to pursue glory not because it's vain, but because it focuses the soul. It filters decisions. It kills distraction. You need that same obsession, not a vague dream to succeed or be rich. A mission so sharp it cuts through hesitation. Something like, build the most feared consulting firm in your city. Become the most respected operator in your niche. Sculpt a physique that commands attention before you speak. These missions are specific, measurable, and emotionally charged. Once you have that, everything falls into line. Every hour has a compass. Every action either serves the mission or dies. This is how you stop trying to stay focused. You give yourself a purpose so powerful that your brain has no choice but to obey. But the enemy is still inside. And he's subtle. Machiavelli's darkest warning was this: the ruler who conquers others but not himself is still a slave. You can delete apps, block distractions, and design perfect systems. But if your inner voice whispers doubt, guilt, hesitation, or shame, your power leaks through the cracks. Focus isn't just discipline, it's self-loyalty. You must learn to protect yourself from your own mind. That means killing guilt when you say no, silencing shame when you choose solitude, exiling doubt when you aim too high. Because the internal saboteur doesn't wear a villain's mask. He sounds like your friend. He tells you, relax. Don't push so hard. You're being too serious. Machiavelli would laugh at that. No man ever rose by being reasonable, he'd say. And he'd be right. When that soft voice appears, don't negotiate with it. Don't argue. Burn it. Replace it with command. We move. Next comes external fortification, because even the sharpest mind collapses in chaos. Focus dies not from weakness, but from unstable systems. Machiavelli told rulers to fortify their cities before battle. You must do the same. Build external structures that protect your focus when motivation disappears. Craft an environment that traps you inside productivity. Make your workspace a battlefield that demands intensity, lighting, music, order, all of it. Design your morning ritual to kill drift before it begins. Block hours in your calendar that are lockdown periods, no calls, no noise, no distractions. These are not soft habits. They're barricades, psychological walls that keep your will unbroken when the world starts knocking. You don't need more willpower if your environment already guards your focus. Next, master boredom. The power of stillness. Focus isn't only about attack, it's about endurance. Most people destroy their focus because they can't sit still. They see boredom as pain. But Machiavelli understood its power. He would spend hours in silence, writing, scheming, thinking. Because boredom isn't emptiness, it's the beginning of creativity. You must learn to sit alone with your thoughts. No music, no phone, no noise. Just a pen, paper, and 20 minutes. It'll feel unbearable at first, like withdrawal. That's good. It means your mind is detoxing from distraction. Stay with it. When you can sit still without reaching for stimulation, you've reclaimed full control. You're no longer a servant to impulse, because if you can sit with silence, you can command storms. Finally, build a feedback loop. Machiavelli didn't believe in blind force. He believed in intelligence. Observe, adapt, reapply. That's how power compounds. The same goes for focus. After every session, ask, what worked? What drained me? What helped me enter flow faster? Then, adjust. Don't grind harder, refine smarter. You're not using a blunt tool, you're fine-tuning a blade. Because the focused man isn't the one who pushes the hardest. He's the one who adjusts the fastest. At this stage, focus stops being a skill. It becomes an identity. Machiavelli would tell you, the ultimate power isn't in what you do, it's in who you become. You don't use focus anymore. You are focus. It's in how you walk, how you speak, how you breathe. When you enter a room, people sense it. This man knows exactly what he wants. Make focus your second skin. Once you become the person whose mind is a weapon and whose presence commands silence, you'll realize something profound. You no longer chase power. Power bends to you. But there's one final test ahead, the coldest and hardest of them all, staying focused under fire. Because it's easy to be calm in silence. The real question is, can you stay cold while the world burns? Anyone can focus when life is calm, when the phone is off, when there's no noise, when the air is still. But that's not the battlefield. That's training. The true test begins when chaos erupts, when deadlines pile up, when people panic, when insults land, when doubt crawls into your chest. That's when most people crumble. But a Machiavellian mind, he stays cold. He moves like a machine, calm, surgical, deliberate. While everyone else is reacting, he's already repositioning. Machiavelli didn't admire calmness for its own sake. He admired control, emotional control specifically, because focus dies the second emotion takes command. The moment anger, fear, or insecurity drives your actions, precision vanishes. You must train emotional immunity. Learn to stay sharp when others are melting. Machiavelli advised rulers to suppress emotion when necessary, not to become lifeless, but to stay dominant when everyone else is cracking. He understood that the ruler who keeps his composure owns the battlefield, because everyone else's mind becomes predictable under stress. The same is true for you. Focus is fragile when you attach it to how you feel, so you train to separate feeling from function. Here's how. When you feel triggered by a message, a failure, a number on a screen, delay your reaction by 10 seconds. That small pause creates distance between emotion and execution. Then label it out loud. That's envy. That's fear. That's guilt. By naming it, you strip it of its power. Then dismiss it like a peasant and return to your task. That's how you train emotional neutrality, the core of unbreakable focus. Because here's what ruins most people. Not failure, but emotional noise. One comment, one insult, one misunderstanding. A single moment of frustration that spirals into distraction. They lose hours, sometimes days, over something that should have been irrelevant. Machiavelli would call that mental weakness, giving peasants control over your kingdom. You rise above it. You rule through stillness. Next, understand this truth. Attention is currency. Every time you spend it, you're trading power. Machiavelli knew that rulers who were too visible, too available, too reactive always lost respect. The prince who appears everywhere is seen as common. The one who appears rarely, with precision, becomes mythic. Your attention works the same way. Every time you give it to drama, gossip, meaningless scrolling, you lose leverage. So start managing it like capital. Invest your attention where the ROI is high, conversations that build, actions that compound, systems that scale. Don't waste it on noise. Don't give it away for free. Treat it like gold, because it is. You don't manage time, you allocate attention. That's how kings think. Next, learn to weaponize focus socially. Because focus isn't just personal, it's psychological warfare. Watch what happens when you keep steady eye contact while everyone else glances at their phones. When you stay silent while they over-explain. When you keep working while they gossip. People start whispering. He's different. He must be building something. I want to know what he's up to. Focus creates mystery. Mystery creates respect. Respect creates desire. Desire creates power. So use your restraint as proof of strength. Don't boast about your plans. Let others project greatness onto your silence. That's how Machiavelli operated. His power didn't come from noise. It came from the tension his silence created. Let the world feel that tension around you. Make people curious. Make them uncomfortable. Make them guess. But to protect that power, you must detox from weak associations. Because even the sharpest blade dulls in bad company. You can be disciplined, focused, and driven. But if you surround yourself with scattered, unfocused minds, their chaos infects you. Machiavelli warned that poor advisors destroy great rulers. The same law applies to your circle. You don't need cheerleaders who flatter you. You don't need dopamine junkies who confuse noise for movement. You don't need friends who laugh at your discipline because they're threatened by it. You need allies who sharpen you in silence. People who work, who think deeply, who guard their time. Mentors who see your mission and feed it. Colleagues who match your precision. Anyone else leeches. Cut them, even if they're charming. Especially if they're charming. Because anyone who consistently breaks your rhythm is not your friend. They're a saboteur disguised as comfort. Now, create a public commitment. Trap yourself into excellence. Machiavelli admired cunning traps, and this is one of the best. Tell people what you're going to do. Announce your mission. Set a deadline. Let others expect something from you. Why? Because now your reputation is on the line. Your pride becomes your leash. Once your ego is involved, you'll execute. Because the pain of public failure becomes too high. This is how great operators stay focused long after motivation dies. They corner themselves. They raise the stakes until there's no easy escape. They turn pressure into precision. That's the secret. Trap yourself into greatness. Burn every backup plan. Let your name become a contract you cannot afford to break. Then, build a system of silence. Machiavelli understood that power lives in quiet. Noise is not just sound, it's chatter, updates, constant commentary, endless explanations. Modern life trains you to narrate everything you do, to explain your progress, to justify your grind, to post every move. Stop. Silence is a fortress. Operate without noise. Don't explain your focus. Don't justify your discipline. Don't broadcast your work. Execute quietly. Let your actions echo louder than your mouth ever could. A silent man building something terrifying in the dark is more powerful than a loud man promising greatness in the light. The most dangerous builders are the ones no one sees coming, and when failure inevitably hits, because it will, don't flinch. Machiavelli knew failure better than anyone. He was imprisoned, tortured, exiled, humiliated. But he didn't collapse because he treated failure like weather, something to endure, not interpret. You will lose focus. You will waste days. You'll spiral sometimes. That's normal. But here's the rule. Never miss twice. One bad hour. Move on. One wasted day. Recover tomorrow. Don't mourn it. Don't talk about it. Don't dramatize it. Just return to the fortress. The difference between the average man and the Machiavellian is speed of recovery. Most people take weeks to refocus. The powerful man does it in hours. Because focus isn't perfection, it's consistency under pressure. Finally, zoom out. Maintain the eagle's view. Machiavelli warned that short-sighted leaders destroy themselves. They get lost in the moment, obsessed with today's problems, blind to tomorrow's structure. The smart ruler and the smart mind sees not just the battle, but the decade-long war. That's how you protect your focus, by seeing the larger strategy behind every small decision. Don't just look at the task, look at the system. Don't just patch the symptom, eliminate the cause. Don't just fight for progress, position for dominance. Ask yourself, what empire am I building? This clarity will anchor you when chaos hits. Because while others are reacting, you're still moving with precision. You're not chasing productivity. You're executing strategy. That's the highest form of focus. Control under chaos. Purpose under pressure. At that point, you've crossed the line. You're no longer practicing concentration. You're living command. You've turned focus into a force of nature. But there's one final level left, where focus stops being effort and becomes instinct. Where every thought, every action, every hour bends automatically toward your will. Where your mind itself becomes a weaponized state. That's the final transformation. Fortress mind. Fortress mind. That's the final stage. The place where focus isn't something you do. It's who you are. Where your discipline, composure, and precision become automatic. Where you no longer have to fight to stay in control because the battle has already been won inside. This is where Machiavelli would have smiled. Not at your productivity, but at your transformation. Because the man who commands his own mind commands his fate. To reach this state, you have to train your mind like a fortress, layered, guarded, unshakable. The walls are built from habits, the gates guarded by structure, and the throne defended by awareness. Every part of you must serve one purpose: control. It begins with structure. Machiavelli warned that even great warriors fall if their cities are unfortified. The same is true for your mind. Without systems, chaos seeps in through cracks. Build external walls that defend your internal focus. Your workspace should trigger intensity the moment you sit down. Your phone should be out of sight, your environment stripped of temptation. Every morning, run a ritual that locks you into your mission. It could be writing your top priority before touching anything else. It could be a short physical movement that wakes aggression. It could be silence. Just 5 minutes staring at your task list, feeling the weight of what's at stake. These small anchors stabilize your inner state. Then, move to your defenses. A fortress isn't built just to keep enemies out. It's built to keep the ruler protected from himself. That means designing friction around your weaknesses. If you lose focus when you go online, use apps that block websites. If your energy dies after eating junk, remove it entirely. If people constantly demand your attention, teach them silence. Every guardrail you add is one less leak in your power. Machiavelli said, "Men are ungrateful, fickle, deceitful." Apply that to your own impulses. Don't trust them. Design against them. Inside the fortress, your time becomes sacred. You stop asking, "How much can I fit into the day?" and start asking, "What's worth my attention at all?" Because every yes cost you 1,000 no's. Ruthless clarity is your moat. You defend it like gold. Now, master emotional endurance. The fortress must withstand siege, stress, uncertainty, fatigue. Because sooner or later, everything will start collapsing around you. Projects will fail. People will disappoint. Plans will fall apart. But if your focus cracks every time emotion spikes, you never had control. You only had convenience. So train under fire. Practice stillness when you want to explode. When a failure hits, breathe once and act coldly. When envy rises, observe it like weather passing through your kingdom. Don't fight it, don't feed it. Let it die. A ruler who keeps his temper keeps his throne. Your power lies in your ability to delay emotional reaction. The longer you can remain composed, the deeper your decisions cut. The man who can stay calm when insulted, when doubted, when ignored. That's the man who quietly wins everything. Then comes perspective, the watchtower of your fortress. From up there, you stop living in hours and start thinking in decades. Machiavelli taught that good princes don't just respond to revolts. They predict them. They see the move before the enemy makes it. You must learn to do the same. When chaos hits, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "What pattern created this?" Every setback, every failure is a signal. Collect them, decode them, and build stronger systems. This is the Machiavellian difference. The weak react, the strategist adapts. And adaptation is how focus evolves from effort to identity. You no longer force yourself to work, you are drawn to it. You no longer push against distraction, it no longer tempts you. Because you've built your mind like a fortress, cold, ordered, unyielding. Now, use your focus as social leverage. The world is drowning in noise, so silence has become rare currency. When you enter a room, speak less. Move slower. Listen like every word matters. Let your calm become unnerving. Let others feel the weight of your attention. Because in an age of chaos, focus itself becomes status. People start whispering, "He's working on something. He knows something we don't." That's Machiavellian mastery. Power through perception. You don't demand respect. You create mystery. You don't chase influence. You command it by presence alone. But even the strongest fortress needs maintenance. You will slip. You will break focus. You will lose days to chaos. The difference is how quickly you recover. Never miss twice. One distracted moment is human. 2 in a row is habit. The Machiavellian rebuilds immediately, no guilt, no drama, just course correction. You return to structure, to silence, to clarity. You rebuild your wall, brick by brick, before cracks spread. That speed of recovery is your real advantage. At the highest level, focus becomes philosophy. It's not about doing more, it's about becoming more deliberate with every breath. You stop asking, "What's next?" and start asking, "What matters most?" You begin to move with the precision of a ruler, not the rush of a servant. Because the truth is, you're not chasing focus. You're chasing command. Command of time, command of energy, command of self. Machiavelli would say, "The world doesn't reward effort, it rewards control." And that's what you've been training for, to stop living reactively and start shaping your environment until it bends toward your will. So build your fortress. Rule your inner kingdom. Guard your attention like it's your crown. Because once you master that, once your focus becomes instinct, not effort, you no longer have to chase power. Power starts chasing you.